Dyson is known for two major things: vacuums and hair devices.
But recently it's come out with a lot of crazy gadgets.
Like headphones that are also an air purifier, and even hairstyling creams. At least one of its newer releases sticks to what the company has done best up to now, and that's cleaning floors. This is the Dyson Wash G1. But this floor washer seems like it has a big omission. It doesn't use suction.
Wait, what? How does a wet vacuum mop work without suction? Dyson is pretty late to the upright wet mop concept, pioneered by brands like Roborock and Tinco, but at the same time, when Dyson chooses to do something, it usually sets the bar. So is its new floor mopping and washing device with its unique no suction technology poised to take the gold in the floor cleaning Olympics?
I bought one of these machines for myself so I could try it out and find out. In this review, I'm going to put it to the test here in my home by tackling all kinds of different spills and messes.
I'll also walk you through what you're getting with this machine, and then I'll wrap things up with both the pros and the cons after my experience and let you know if I think I can recommend this pricey floor washing device for you, or if I sent it back to the company.
There's not a lot to unpack. All you get is a handle, the Wash G1 body itself, and two pieces that make up the charging dock plus a plug. I'll point out there's no instructions included in the box, so you're going to need to scan a QR code if you want to get any helpful pointers or can't figure out the operation for yourself. I had no trouble assembling the components. For the dock, just click the two pieces together and connect the plug, then take the handle and slide it into the body until you hear another click and you're all set. Take a look underneath and you can see how this works and kind of how it all fits together. There are 4 rollers underneath. 2 you can see right away. These are plush microfiber absorbent rollers, while the other 2 are only visible if you remove the center tray. These other brushes have stiffer bristles and they're used for kicking up debris. The tray is a flat cartridge made up of 2 parts, which is meant to catch solids in the top and let liquids flow through and settle on the bottom.
There's not really any setup required. This machine doesn't need to connect to a companion app or to the cloud, so there's no need to dig for your phone. Once you've got all the components assembled, you can just go ahead and use it.
First, fill the clean water tank and press the red latch behind the top tank to release the entire canister holding both tanks. Then press the button to release the clean tank and fill that with about 800 milliliters or 27 ounces of water.
If you want to use a cleaner as well, Dyson says that's okay. Just make sure it's a gentle, low foaming detergent and don't use bleach.
I started using the Wash G1 right away so I could get a better understanding of how exactly it works. The red button on the handle powers on the device and activates the small display screen. On the surface, it seems like it operates very similar to its competition. Turn it on and push and pull it back and forth across your floor. The double microfiber rollers underneath get damp with water from the clean tank, and then somehow dirty water ends up in the dirty tank. I think I'm most confused about how that water is dribbling into the dirty tank, since Dyson says it doesn't use suction.
So the design of Wash G1 doesn't rely on suction. Instead, we developed a new system using 2 counter-rotating rollers.
From what I can tell in my first few days with this machine, the underside of the device dampens those blue plush rollers in order to clean. And if you're vacuuming up a wet spill, what's actually happening is the rollers essentially absorb the liquid, and then the Wash G1 uses almost a type of squeegee force to scrape the liquid off those rollers. Then the liquid somehow flows into the dirty water tank. Solid debris like cereal, dirt, and pet hair gets flipped up into that small collection tray by the second set of rollers with the stiffer bristles, where it's held separately from the liquid.
Despite the Wash G1 not having any vacuuming components, the cleaner still feels quite heavy, weighing close to 5 kilograms with an empty tank, which is heavier than a fully loaded Dyson Submarine V15. At the same time, it does have a bit of motorized push-pull assistance, which does help it feel a little lighter. Perhaps not surprisingly then, the Wash G1 isn't quite as nimble as some other options. It can be a bit clunky to turn thanks to all that weight.
When you're done cleaning your floor, Dyson suggests the cleanup and disposal is going to be cleaner and easier than your average floor washer.
And then when it comes to disposal, you can pour the liquid straight down the sink, and then the tray will collect the large solid debris, which makes it much easier for you to go and empty that out. Much more hygienic.
But I disagree, and you'll see why in just a few moments. But for starters, it's not heating the water, and unless you add cleaner, you're just washing with room temperature tap water. You'll slide the debris collection tray out, and time after time I found the tray really hard to remove. And contrary to how it looks, the button above releases the rollers, not the debris tray. Once you can get it out, you'll see the solids on top, and any residual liquid has flowed through a small set of mesh screens in the bottom. The solid debris can go in the garbage, and any remaining water gets tipped into the sink. Any dirty water that's been scraped from the rollers is held in the dirty water tank, and that can be poured into the sink or toilet. Wash G1 has 3 levels of water flow, and you can dial it up if you have larger or stickier messes that need more help. Changing the water flow level essentially just soaks the rollers with more water.
Now that we have a better understanding of how this machine works and what it's capable of, I'm going to run it through a series of tests. I'll have it clean spilled coffee from the floor and see how effective it is. The second test I'll run is to mop up spilled cereal, and the third test will be for it to power sticky dried barbecue sauce off my floor. Let's get to it.
With the coffee, it worked like a dream. It sopped up everything in a single pass. When it came to the cereal, it also did a good job, seemingly gathering up both the cereal pieces and the milk. In some cases, it took an extra pass to pick up all the bits, but it did get the job done. When I was finished, I was able to slide the debris tray out and dump the cereal pieces into the garbage or the sink disposal, while the milky cleaning water went down the drain. Lastly, when it came to scrubbing away barbecue sauce, I tried it on both partially dried and fully dried sauce. As you can see, the partially dried sauce, it took about 6 or 7 passes before everything was truly scrubbed away. Now, I'm not too fussed about this because this is actually fairly common among this type of machine. The more stuck on your spill is, the more passes it's going to take, and in the end, it did get everything off the floor. When it comes to the thoroughly dried barbecue sauce, I'll speed this up for you. Not surprisingly, it took a lot more back and forth to scrub away, more like 20 passes. Looking at this, it's probably faster to just take a scrubby cloth to the floor.
Now, while you could look at these 3 tests and conclude the Dyson Wash G1 does the job well, there are a few annoying and sometimes gross things I noticed while doing my tests.
The first thing I noticed with the coffee test, when I removed the debris tray, I noticed that while the screen catches most debris, including pet hair, it does leave a fair bit of water in the bottom of the tray, and that tray needs to be kept absolutely flat or else you'll slosh whatever's in the bottom there onto the floor again, and that happened to me a lot. Then, when I took a closer look at the water tray, I realized the squeegee edges also collected loads of pet hair that had to be scraped off. That's the kind of gross part. So I spilled earlier, but then I also realized as soon as I moved the machine without the drip tray in place, it was dribbling leftover liquid onto the floor, and I needed to wipe that up with a paper towel. When it came to rinsing out the screening tray, I noticed dirt, debris, and hair was catching in a lot of very awkward corners of the tray. It wasn't easy to clean out, and I ended up needing to scrub it with a brush to get it all the way clean.
I came away from these tests feeling that while the machine technically does the job, it's a lot messier in the cleanup and emptying than almost every other upright vacuum mop I've tried. The open debris tray here is really just a recipe for disaster, and it doesn't do a good job of containing spills and sloshes when you're trying to empty it. While Dyson does bill this machine as a tidier solution, I am definitely not a fan of this design. The lack of suction combined with the awkward collection tray and the squeegee design that tends to hold debris and pet hair really just creates more work for me.
Once you pick a hydration level, you'll see a little indicator on the screen along with an estimated time remaining until the battery's fully drained. Dyson says it estimates a total runtime of about 35 minutes for average use and roughly 290 square meters or 3,000 square feet of cleaning for a single liter of water in that clean water tank.
I will say that for this price, this is extremely entry-level battery life. Most upright wet-dry mopping devices launched within the last 3 to 5 years started with about that much battery life. But Dyson is entering into an already crowded market where the competition have batteries that can last almost twice as long. Seems like a bit of a red flag.
In terms of what that battery life meant to me here in my home, I found that when I did the kitchen, living room, hall, and bedrooms, about 850 square feet, I could use it only about 2 to 3 times on a single charge.
If you have a larger home, I think this device would really struggle to take care of everything on a single charge. I also didn't find the 3,000 square foot of cleaning estimate to be accurate, particularly when I used the higher water flow settings and did a self-clean afterwards. In fact, I found the water tanks needed attention after pretty much every use. Like its Dyson vacuum cousins, you can also swap the Wash G1 battery with another battery, but that's only if you decide to pay extra for a spare. At this price, they really should have included a second battery, in my opinion.
Let's touch on the self-cleaning. This mode simply runs the vacuum for a couple minutes and saturates the rollers with clean water and spins them really fast. Simple, but it seems relatively effective, at least if the amount of dirty water that gets spit into that dirty water tank is any indication. In one last flip side though, I found that after I ran a self-cleaning cycle and then took the G1 off the dock, it dribbled water all over the floor from where the dock is back out into the living space, even hours after the self-clean. This is just another example for me of the little things that can really frustrate me with a supposedly high-end device.
Overall, I'm really confused about this device and why Dyson decided to go this route. It really feels to me that Dyson is trying to spin maybe inadequate technology as a unique engineering choice. And with so many little things that put me off with this machine, I think I know which way this review is going to go, but let's go over both the pros and the cons so you can see if this might be a good bet for you.
On the pro side, I think the design is really nice, and this is probably one of the nicer looking upright vacuum mop devices. It's definitely simple when it comes to assembly and parts, and that makes it easy to put together and easy to use, as well as straightforward to clean with. When it comes to the cleaning, the machine definitely tackled all of the spills I set up for it, and it did a great job. Even in the basic day-to-day cleaning, it was really effective and easy to use, and that it will also rinse its rollers as part of a self-clean is also helpful. So what are the downsides? For me, I found the awkward open debris collection tray was just a mess waiting to happen. It was far too easy to tip or spill liquid out of that tray and back onto the clean floor. Plus, the debris screen has many nooks and crannies where dirt can hide. I also didn't appreciate how from time to time the machine left puddles on the floor when I took out the drip tray. I suppose the lesson here would be you should really only remove that tray once you have it docked at its charging station, where at least there's a mat to catch some of the liquid. But in even another downside, after a self-cleaning cycle, it still seemed to drip water when I took it away from the dock. Finally, it is a major struggle for this device to get under most furniture because the Wash G1 is just so big.
The battery life here is incredibly short, especially given the size, weight, and the Dyson name. I am also completely baffled as to why Dyson wouldn't include suction power with this. Now, I suppose the proof here is in the pudding or the barbecue sauce or the coffee, in that the machine was definitely effective at soaking up liquids and collecting debris. It was just a mess to dispose of. Lastly, I also think the price for this device is incredibly high given what it does, and particularly when competing devices that are far easier to empty out, far less messy, are going for probably about half the price. For me, that means I'm going to be sending this machine back because it just doesn't feel like it's up to the Dyson name or worth that Dyson premium price. Speaking of which, it sells for about $6.99 US or $8.99 Canadian, and you can get one from Dyson or any number of electronics retailers plus Amazon. And if you actually want to see what a far less expensive upright vac mop can do, I've reviewed nearly a dozen. Check out these reviews of some of the competition, or see a Dyson floor cleaner that I do think is absolutely worth the money right now.